Hello everyone, it is Kate here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing a Blender tutorial part 7, which is also the last part. Now this is the beginner's tutorial, and after this, I will start making advanced tutorials for people who are more experienced with Blender and Roblox together. So I haven't done one of these videos in like 2 months, and I'm super sorry about that. I keep forgetting about doing another tutorial of it, and I finally got reminded today about it, so I'm going to go ahead and just do it today and get it done and over with. But in today's video, we're going to be doing rigging. I'm going to show you guys the basics of rigging. I'm also going to show you guys the plugins that I use and everything like that. I will also leave them in the description of the plugins I use for my rigging, so if you guys want to check those out to use them, because it's quite simple to actually rig. It's just a little bit time consuming, but if you guys want to use those, you're always welcome to use. But yeah, with all that said, make sure to subscribe to become Late Potatoes if you guys are new and haven't already, and also like this video if you guys want more of these Blender tutorial kind of videos. And let's get right into the video. So last video I was left off with exporting this into ROBLOX and coloring it. Now when I did color it, for some reason the model just disappeared, so I had to export it all over again, and once I did that, it was right here but it wasn't colored. So I'm not going to really worry about coloring this guy, as it's not very that important. I do recommend coloring it though if you're going to use it for a game, because a not colored one is kind of bad, but I am not going to color this unless I need to like see a part or something. I'm not going to color it. So yeah, I kind of did a little bit on this before I did the tutorial. I was kind of actually like making a video like probably a month ago on this, and then I got a new computer and I lost the files, so now I have to make it all over again. So you're probably going to see some things that I don't need to really do, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of the stuff I start out with doing as soon as I export it into the game. So let's go ahead and do that. So first thing you want to do is, after you export it, obviously you want to color it. You also want to make sure that the parts are in the right place, and you also want to make sure to group it after you do that, or after that. But when you guys are ready to rig it, what you want to do is actually ungroup it. The reason is because if you ungroup it, you can select each and every part of this creature, and you won't have to worry about going into the model and scrolling down to find the right body part. It's also a lot more organized and a lot easier to do, as when I was a beginner, I used to keep it grouped and also doing a lot of these namings over here, and that took ages. So I would suggest ungrouping it to name all the parts, and then you would group it once you're done. So naming is probably one of the main parts that is a pain, and also it's actually very simple as well. It's just a little bit time consuming. So once you ungroup it, you want to click a part. I'm not going to ungroup it because I've already named, like, I think all of these parts are named. Yeah, all of the parts are named, so I'm not going to ungroup it because I already did that. But basically what you do is you click a part. So say you click the sail. Once you click the sail, you will either double click or click once, and this will pop up. This will be able to type in whatever you want to type. Now what I normally do is, if I have multiple parts of one part, so like sails for example, if I have a sail, I'm gonna put sail 1 or the back sail 1, and then I would put back sail 2 for the second one. Same goes with the legs and stuff. It's pretty simple. You can also name them like with other people, they name them differently. So a lot of people that rig kind of name them differently than other people that do it. It just depends on how you like to name the things. Now if you're doing the body, you can also name it body 1, body 2, and then you want to have the torso is like right around the tail, like right here at the butt. Let me find it. Alright, so this is the torso right here. You want to make sure that the torso is at the end, and the torso is not the waist or the chest or anything. Now you can also name the bodies not 1 or 2. You can also name them chest and waist, and then you can do the tails and etc. But for a beginner, I would say maybe just put body 1, body 2. I mean, it's simple to name them. You can do whatever you want with naming, but you can do any way basically, as long as you know the parts. The reason people name them on rigging sometimes is to help the animators see which body parts. So if they can't click on a certain body part, because I know in animation sometimes the body part won't pop up even if it's rigged and you can't select it, you would have to go to the plus button and add this rig where you have to add the body part. And if it's named like something like Bob or something, and it's just like a simple name that it doesn't have the real name of it, it's going to be quite confusing to find for the animator, and it's going to take more time to find it than it would if it was named something like leg 5 or leg 2 or something like that. But yeah, also with the details, I do want to say that with the details, so say you have an underbelly, I normally put, after I put body 2, I would put body 2/1. So I would put like a 1 to indicate that this is a detail, and it helps me with rigging. Now this is also a way to help yourself with rigging, because if it's named a weird name, it's going to be hard to find the body part of it, and it's going to take a lot more time, as if it's more organized and you have the names correctly and you know what body parts are what, it's going to be a lot easier to rig and a lot faster. Now say that you have a detail on top of a detail like this, where it's basically a detail on top of a detail. Now there's two ways you can go about this. You can do what I did, which is simple, a 1 out of 2 and a 1 out of 3, but there's also another way you can do this. You can basically put a 1 out of 2 and then you can put another 1, which actually no, you would put it over, hold up. You would put it on the detail that's over top of the other detail. This would basically indicate to you, if you are rigging it, that this detail is on top of the second detail on the torso, and it's basically a way you can do this. But again, you don't have to do that. You can just put a number 3 and you would probably know that this is going to be something that you can put there. Now you want to rig those together. I will show you guys in a second how to rig the details on top of a detail. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the rigging part. Now this is not as simple as you may think it is. You might just think that, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and put on the rig. Well, there's some few steps that you really need to do. I'm pretty sure I already did it. Yeah, I think I actually already rigged some of this. Hold up. Did I rig the torso? Yes, okay. So what you basically want to do is, after you have everything done with the naming, you want to make sure nothing is not named. Now of course you could just name these 1, 2, 3 and stuff like that. If you guys are just that lazy and you want to do that, I mean, it's fine, it's still gonna work, but it's gonna be a lot difficult to find parts during the rigging and the animation. But basically what you want to do is you want to hit this plus button on the model. Once you do that, it's going to pop up with things like this. You want to go and have the humanoid part right here. Well, it's just humanoid. It's not going to call it anything else. If it's not near the top where you can't see it, you can just search in human and it's probably going to pop up. If not, just put humanoid. And once you do, just click on this guy and add him. I already have him added. This basically lets you animate him. So if you have the animation here, or you have the animation editor over here, which is the plugin that I have, it will basically let you animate them. But if you do not have this humanoid, it's not going to let you click on the animation, the model, and it's not going to let you do anything to them. So you're going to make sure that this thing is actually in the model, or else it's not going to work. Now the next thing is you want to insert a part. Now this is going to be called the humanoid root part. I already have one right here, as you can see, but I'm going to basically use this guy again and not really put him into the model, but show you guys what you basically do with the humanoid root part. Now with this humanoid root part, what you want to do is name it humanoid root part. Now I'm actually going to name it just because I want to name it. Alright, so now that I named it, it's going to be called humanoid root part. You want to put it like right under the torso. So you want to find the torso and you want to put it like right under. Now I'm not really measuring it right now, like not measuring it, but like I'm not really looking to where the torso is. I'm just going to place it there for an example. Now you want to use, I think in the last tutorial that I made on this, I gave you the plugin for this one. So you guys can go check the last video out to get that plugin. I'll also leave in the description below in this video, but I just want to make sure that you guys know that it's also in the other video that I shared because we used it in the other video. But basically what you want to do is you want to bring it up to like the part where the torso is, like basically inside the little torso. Now you want to use the stretch tool, whatever this is called, resize tool. Yeah, resize tool. And you basically want to resize this box until you feel satisfied with it. Now too big of a box, like this is a perfect size for it. Oh god. This is a perfect size for it. It could be a bit smaller, but I mean, I'm just not really worried about it right now because we already have one in there, and this is just an example that I'm going to show you guys how to do. But yeah, you don't want a super tiny humanoid root part, and you don't want a huge humanoid root part. This is like the perfect size. If not, even smaller would be fine, but not too small. Just perfect size. Now after you have this in the body, basically what you want to do is you want to make sure it's transparent. So you're going to go into the properties, make sure that the properties are open. You want to scroll down until you have appearance. When you're in appearance, you want to go to the very bottom, which it should be at the very bottom. If not, it's in the appearance, and you want to basically put it on number 1. Once you do that, it's going to be completely invisible and you can't see it at all. Now once you have the humanoid root part done, you basically want to add this into the group or the model. You want to group it into the model. So basically what you do is you touch the humanoid root part and you make sure it's selected, and then select the model and you put in group. Once you do that, it's going to be in the model. Now I'm not going to group this one because we already have a humanoid root part, and now I'm going to use the one I already have, which is this one right here, and I'm going to show you guys what else you can do, what else you do to the humanoid root part, and then do that before you start rigging. Now it's very important that you have the humanoid root part in the front. You have to make sure that the humanoid root part is in the front. So what I mean by that is basically you want to make sure the humanoid root part is facing the right way, or else if not, the animations are going to look weird and it's going to affect the scripting. Now what you want to do to make sure to do this, because I'm pretty sure not most of you know this, is you want to hit the plus button and you want to go to the surface GUI. Once you have the surface GUI, you want to click it again and have frame. Now when you go to the thing, you have to look around. Now wherever the frame is where the front of the humanoid root part is. Now as you can see, the humanoid root part has the frame in the front, so we are fine. We don't need to worry about that. After you do that, you can delete that, and then it's all done and over with. That's basically all you gotta do to check to see if it's in the front. Now say if it's not in the front and it's in the back or it's on the side. All you gotta do is touch the humanoid root part and hit Ctrl R, and this will flip it around to the other side. Now you have to keep doing it until it's all the way in the front. So you want to make sure that the frame's all the way in the front, and keep hitting Ctrl R until the humanoid root part's in front. Now after all this is said and done, you can actually rig it now. Now I use this plugin, which is the Rig Edit Lite. Yes, that's what it's called. Now this is the only rig I use, so if you guys use another rig, I'm not really sure what you guys do on that. I'm not sure if it's completely different than my rig, so I'm sorry if that's a little bit disappointing, but you can always download this one to use for rigging, as this one's going to be shown in my advanced tutorial and it's going to be shown in the beginners, which it is right now. Now what you guys want to do is you want to basically click on the model. Now you want to go to plugins, and when you have the plugin downloaded, all you got to do is click it. Now it's going to make the whole model transparent, and if it has any of these little dots or lines, that means that you have started rigging it, or someone started rigging it. Now if you haven't done it, I would suggest deleting those if you didn't do that, but if it's like this and it's brand new, you're totally fine. And let's go ahead and begin with the rigging. Now most people probably think that all you gotta do is basically put all the parts together. Well, it's kind of like that, it's kind of not. Before you do anything with the rigging, you want to make sure to select the humanoid root part. After you do, you want to hold on to Control, and you can basically select anything. If you guys also hit Shift, you can basically select a lot of these like that, but you want to go ahead and hit Control. Now once you hold Control, you want to make sure to hold it when you click the torso. You want to click the torso and it's going to line up like this. Now for some reason the humanoid is actually a little bit off, so let me fix that real quick. Now again, this doesn't have to be accurate, as if you guys, I'm just using this for a tutorial. This is not going to be used for anything in game, but you want to make sure you have the torso, and you also want to make sure you have the humanoid root part kind of lined up like this, where they're together, and you want to make sure they're like that because it also affects the scripting, if the animations, the way they turn, and everything like that. So it's very important that you guys do this, but what you want to do basically is hit the humanoid root part, make sure it's selected, hold Control, hit the torso, and then go up here and hit Create Joints. Now it's going to have this come up. You don't want to do anything, but that's all you want to do. You also now want to go to the torso. Normally what I do is after I rig the humanoid root part to the torso, I make sure to rig from the torso to all the other body parts on the model. So I would go from torso to the other parts of the body, and then we do the legs and etc. Now people may do this a different way, where they would start from the head to the tail, which I don't really do that because I feel like if I do it from the torso, it's going to help a lot. And I don't know if people actually do it from the head or something. I feel like you would probably need to do it from the torso. And also I want to go over some things that may occur if you guys do it wrong. So say that you did the humanoid root part from the torso, or like you connected the torso to the humanoid root part, or it's not anchored, or etc. I'm going to show you guys how to fix some of the problems you may have when you first learn how to rig and stuff like that. So for example, let's go ahead and find the second body part of this guy and go ahead and connect it. So I'm pretty sure, no, your body 2, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and connect body 2. Now when you do this, it's going to pop up right in the center of the part that you just rigged. You want to make sure you have it lined up. You also want to make sure this steps are hit to 0, so you will have a smooth kind of move on this one. Now you kind of want to line it up right here, as you can see. between the torso and the body part you just used, which is body 2. Now if you don't do this, for example, let me go ahead and actually do the body 2 to the body 1, so I have a clear example of what I'm doing. So basically, if you guys, oh god, let me just create the joints. So we have the body 2 connected to the torso the right way. It's in the very middle of the part. Now I'm going to show you guys why you want to have it in the very middle of the parts connecting. Also, it's going to kind of look weird, so I'm going to go ahead and show. So if you have everything done correctly, you will be able to animate even if you're not done completely rigging. You want to make sure you also test this as well. So let me make sure that this is... Alright, as you can see, it works. But what you want to do is you want to make sure to go to the Humanoid root part real quick, and you want to make sure this guy is anchored. As you can see, he is anchored. None of the other parts should be anchored, so let's go to here. As you can see, none of the other parts should be anchored. If they are, it will mess up the thing. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys by unanchoring the Humanoid root part what happens if you guys don't do this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and uncheck the anchored. Now let's go back to the animation. As you can see, we can still select it, but when we go to move it, it's going to be moving the chart. So let me just real quick redo that. So if you guys do this, as you can see, the little chart thing that shows will move and not the body part itself. Now that's because the humanoid root part is not anchored. If it's not anchored, it's only going to move the chart and nothing's going to work. Now if you have these, it's going to work, but the torso will not work unless the humanoid root part is anchored. So you want to make sure the humanoid root part is definitely anchored, because if not, it's not going to work properly and you will probably have this. Now when I first started rigging, I spent hours trying to fix this because I was not understanding why it was doing this, until I finally figured out, well, I didn't anchor it. So you guys want to make sure to do that. It will also save time, and I had a lot of time wasted just trying to figure out why it wasn't working like that. So the next thing is, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys since I did this. So as you can see here, we have the torso, we have the body 2 and the body 1. So the torso, if it moves like this, you're perfectly good. You haven't rigged the other parts, then it's fine if they don't move because they're not rigged. So if you move this, as you can see, it's a little bit... As you can see with the filling, it's a little bit weird. That's why I recommended doing another way, but I will show those in my advanced tutorial. But as you can see, it moves perfectly fine. It moves to like the sync of it and everything like that. But if you move it, because as you can see here, let me go to rig. This one is moved in the middle of the part. Now this one, the body 1, is not. And I'm going to show you why you want to have this in the in the parts where they connect, because if not, it's going to move like this. Now you do not want it to move like this, because as you can see, the little dot is probably like right here. And if you have it right there, it's going to only move where the little dot is. So if it's in the center, it's going to move like this, as if it was in the center of both the parts connecting. It will move more better, and it will move like this. So you definitely want to go do that. I normally test my rigs too, like if I have certain parts connected, I go ahead and go back into animation and kind of check those. Of course, I use a different kind of animation. Those are just Roblox animation. I use this one right here, which is the animation editor 3.3.1, so you can use that as well. This one is a lot smoother. I don't know what's with the animation one that for Roblox that they have. It's kind of like a little bit blocky and stuff like that. I'm not sure why. I can't really fix it because I don't animate a lot, so that's probably why I don't know, because I just don't know. But if you guys want a animating tutorial and later in the future, I will definitely do that. But moving on, what you basically want to do for the details. Now I'm going to go ahead and speed it up after I do all the talking on how to rig it and show you guys basically me just rigging it. So basically what you want to do with details. So if you have body 2, for example, and just say you have a detail, what you want to do is you want to select the body and then the detail. If you guys select the detail and then the body, it will connect this one to the body, so the main part of the body would be moving would be the detail. So that's why whenever you have a detail, make sure you select the part that you want it to be rigged to. So say the body, you want the detail to be rigged to the body. All you gotta do is create joints. You don't have to really move it unless you want the detail to move. So say these little spike, well, whatever it is called, sails right here, you wanted them to move a specific way, then yes, you would probably have to realign them. But if you have things like the underbelly that you're probably not really going to move unless like the body moves with it. You're not really going to need to move this little dot right here, and it'll probably be perfectly fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up, and then I will get to the head and talk about the head, because it is a little bit about the head though I do want to talk about. So let's go ahead and get into that. Okay, so we are back. I'm not going to actually rig the whole model, basically because I don't know, I'm just going to show you guys basically the starting ways of how to rig and the easiest ways to rig in my opinion. So what you want to do is, after you have the neck and you're ready to rig the head, what you want to do basically is you want to go up to the head and find the fake head. Now I normally call it fake head because if you don't call it fake head, it won't work with the scripts. Apparently that's what someone told me, and it's not going to be working. So you want to make sure it's called fake head as well. I just forgot. I think I told you guys that in the video, but I'm not really sure. So what you want to do is, when you hit the you want to make sure the closest neck part is the one that you connect it to. Now as you can see, you want the dot to be all the way in the back where the head is. You also want to make sure it's not too far, but you don't want to make it too like close. You want to make it like right around there would probably be fine. Again, if you left it in the middle, it's going to only rotate around the little circle. So say it was right here, it'd probably rotate a little bit weirdly. You want to make sure the dot's here. Now after you have that, you want to go ahead and connect the jaw to it, because if not, the jaw is going to not move and it's going to be weird. So you want to take and select the head, and then you want to select the jaw. After that, you want to hit create joints again, and you want to bring this guy back. You kind of want to make like a little Z whenever you're connecting the head to the jaw. You want to make a little Z kind of shape with this like rig, and then you kind of want to set it there. This will make it a little bit smoother and easier for the jaw to move. But yeah, that's basically the stuff you have to do. The details are pretty simple. All you got to do is connect those. Now let's say that you want the fake head sail to move. Say you want it to have a extra detail or something. You want to go ahead and find the head sail and basically connect those. Now these can stay like this if you're not going to move it, but if you guys want to move it, try to find the best possible way for it to move. So keep it like right at the like connection part of the head from the sail, and kind of like in the center, because if it's like this, it's kind of hard to figure out where you want it. But if you have it like right in the center and at the bottom, it will be totally fine and it will move perfectly fine. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want a detail to move. All you gotta do is just hit create joints, and you don't really have to move the dot if you don't want it to move, because it won't need to have like the little dots lined up with it. Now again, I'm not going to be rigging this whole model. I am going to be rigging certain parts you need to basically know, and basically stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and rig this left leg. It's going to be a quick rig, and it's not going to be much because I want to show you guys how to do that. And I also want to show you guys a little bit of a trick with the claws and also the toes that you can use, which would make the animation a lot easier. So basically what you want to do is select the torso. Now if you have a leg or anything like that, you want to select where it's basically connecting at. So right here you can see the left leg is connecting to the torso. So you want to go ahead and find the leg, and it's going to be called left leg something. So let me go ahead and find that. Alright, so once you find the left leg, as you can see here, oh god, I forgot to select the torso, that's terrible. Alright, here you go. So you want to hit control again. You want to make sure you're holding control until you select it, then you can let go if you want. So basically what you can do is you can select both the right and the left. Now normally I don't really select all of them at once because it could connect to the wrong thing, but if you have it connecting, like say the legs for example are both connecting to the torso, you can basically select both of them and then hit create joints. Now you can keep these here if you guys want where these guys are at, but if you guys want to move these around, that is perfectly fine. Now it's not going to affect it as much, but you want to make sure that if you guys are having a smooth rig, it is at the best possible place. Now I kind of like to make them go outwards, and if you have both of them selected, you can do that as well. You just gotta be like selecting different ways. But if you guys want to select multiple dots, by the way, all you gotta do is click one of them, if I can even click this guy, and then you want to hold shift and click another. You can basically click any of these guys you want and basically just move them around, as you can see there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to actually just do a simple little rig. I'm not gonna really move any of the dots, but you should move the dots for the legs, because if not, it's going to look weird. It's very important that you do actually move them with the legs, because the legs are probably going to be worked on a lot in the animation of whatever you have. and you want to basically do that. But I'm just going to be doing a little short one so I can show you guys how to do the toes and make it a lot easier for you and the animator to actually use. Now if you have 3 toes, this can work. If you have 2 toes, this doesn't really work and you kind of want to do it a different way. But let's go ahead and show you guys how to do it with 3 toes. So you will basically want to select the very end of the leg. So this would be the foot right here. You kind of want to have a selection where the foot would be like right there. Now you want to go ahead and go find the toe or the whatever you called it, foot, whatever you called it, and just go select that one, and then I'll bring you guys back. You want to make sure it's the middle one right here. Okay, now that I have the middle one selected, you want to go ahead and select the inside and the other outside toe of the same foot, and you want to basically rig them. Now it's going to look like this, and you want to basically still make it push back a little bit to make it good and awesome. When I was a beginner, what I used to do is I used to take the foot right here, the last foot that there is, the last part, and I would rig it to the middle one, then the other one, and the other one. Now with this one, the reason why I say you should rig your feet kind of like this is because when you go into animation, let's go ahead and show you guys. If you go to animate editor, you'll be able to select these toes now. Now if you move this, as you can see, you're moving all of the toes. Now if you had the foot connected to all of these toes, so say that you had the foot rigged to the inside, the outside, and the middle one, but you didn't have it rigged to the middle one and like I do right now, then you wouldn't be able to move all of them together. Now that, don't worry if you guys are kind of confused, like, well, what about the other ones? You can still move these guys independently, but if you guys have it connected like I have here, you will be able to move the leg like this, well, the toes like this, and you can also move the other 2 on the other side independently. Now with 2 toes, I would just suggest using the very last part, which is like right here, and rigging the 2 toes to this like guy right here. Mainly because if you do it with that, it's kind of weird because you have to choose which one it is. But with this one, since we have a middle toe and we have 3 of them, it's easier to do this because it's less work on the animators. And whenever they have to move it, they don't have to worry about moving every single one. And if you guys wanted to align the feet, then this is a good way to also do that. Now the last thing I want to talk about in today's video for the rigging before I end it is the details on top of details. Now as you can see, I kind of did already rig detail on top of detail, but let's go ahead and go to the torso and show one of the details on top of a detail. So as you can see here, we have the torso. Now we have some details. We have the underbelly, and we also have these 2 details which are on top of each other. So what you want to do is, I'm going to go ahead and just rig the underbelly to the torso, and once you do that, you will go ahead and go to the detail that you want. So you want to make sure the outer detail, which is the one that's closest to the model itself, is going to be rigged to the torso. So once you have that, you can go ahead and select the one that you just rigged to the torso, and then select the inner detail. Once you do that, you will hit create joints, and they will be stuck together. The reason I do this is because if it's on top of another detail, you basically just want to put it on that detail because that detail is connected to the torso, and all you gotta do is just do that. It's pretty simple and pretty easy. It's not too hard. But yeah, if you guys want to test out your stuff, so say that you're kind of confused or you're kind of worried that the model has a problem with it, just go to this little Roblox one if you want, or you can use the plugin that I have right here, which is this one right here. I'll leave it in the description below. And you also want to test out if you can select all of them. Now sometimes you have to go and add them for some reason. I don't know why that happens. I still haven't figured that out, but you want to make sure that when you move it, that the stuff that you've rigged has gone with it. So as you can see, everything I've rigged from the model is going with this model. As you can see, the tail and everything else is not rigged to it, and the eyes as well. That's kind of creepy. But anything else like that is not rigged to it, it will not follow. But you want to make sure stuff that you have rigged will actually follow the model, or the torso I should say, because if not, it probably has something wrong. I normally, every time I do something, like I do one leg or I do the whole body or something, I normally check in the animator to see if it's good, because if not, I don't want to do it all over again right after I finish the whole model rigging. It takes up time, it's time consuming, so you might want to check them off every now and then. Another little tip that you want to have is you want to hit on the model. You want to hit Control C and then hit Control V, or you can also hit Shift D, which can have a duplicate. You want to make sure that wherever you are on the place, you want to have a second one of these, just in case you messed up and you can't redo it, because I know sometimes when I was in studio, if I messed up, I couldn't redo it and I would lose the whole model. Now having a second one is also good, because if you left off on some place, say like right here, and say that you wanted to shrink it, because sometimes if you shrink it like this, as you can see, let's go ahead and look at it. It doesn't have the rig or anything, and when you bring it back, which where do you go? I don't think I brought him back. As you can see, you can't bring him back. But if you have a second one, then you won't have to worry. You can just pick off where you left off, and you will have those guys. This is just a tip. It's not something you need to do, but if you guys mess up, it's always good to have a second one just in case, so you don't lose all of your progress and you'll be perfectly fine. But with all that said, that's kind of it for the video. I didn't rig the whole thing because that was just the basics of trying to show you guys the rig. Now in the advanced tutorial, I'll probably do the whole thing and show you guys some other stuff on it and stuff like that, because rigging is pretty simple. It's just really time consuming. It's a lot to do, especially if you have a lot of parts. You have to name all of these parts. Now you can have it generated to name all these parts, but for the animator, it's kind of easier if you guys have them named kind of like I did and not have 1 2 3 4, because it's going to be easier to find a certain part if you can't select it or etc. But yeah, that's it for the rigging tutorial and the last Blender tutorial. Comment down below what you guys thought about this whole tutorial episode. I will be making the advanced tutorial ones probably soon. Hope you guys did enjoy. I'm sorry this one was kind of late. It's like 2 months after the other one, but I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.